what's good? Welcome into the show. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now. My name is Chase Sr., and coming up, we're going to open up the floor and do a mailbag. I'm taking all of your questions and your hot takes. Before we take your questions, though, let's take a look at our sub-battle between Eagles Now and the Cowboys Report, two powerhouse channels here at Chat Sports. Over the last 7 days, the Cowboys Report has picked up 152 new subscribers. Philadelphia Eagles Now right behind the Cowboys Report at 145. How about them Cowboys? Go Birds, go on down, hit that subscribe button, and let's get another win over the Dallas Cowboys. This is also why you should subscribe to the channel. We involve you in all of our shows. I hit you with daily Eagles coverage right here on YouTube. It's elite. We talk everything from news to the latest rumors. I pass along a lot of analysis. We do live shows and watch parties. And I have 5 key pillars of this show. Anytime I'm in front of this camera on this microphone, I want our Eagles Now content to be insightful, informative, entertaining, thought-provoking, where you can be involved. So if all of that sounds good and you want to be a part of the movement, lock us in and hit that subscribe button right now. Let's start to take your questions here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Adam Greenspan with this one. Which game next year will be the toughest? Adam, that's a really good question because this Eagles schedule going into 2025 is a very difficult one. It is the hardest schedule year over year as far as the difficulty jump going from 2024 to 2025. And based upon opponents' winning percentage from the previous year, this is the 4th hardest schedule in the National Football League. And here it is. You got Cowboys, Chiefs, Rams, Bucks, Broncos, Giants, Vikings, and Giants all within the first 8 weeks. I think that week 1 Cowboys game going to be difficult because the Cowboys going to be motivated as the Eagles hoist that Lombardi Trophy banner. Week 2, you have to play the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a hard game. Rams, rematch of the divisional round. That's a difficult game. Then you go on the road to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I think the first 4 weeks of the season really going to test Philadelphia. And all of those are hard games. On the road against the Vikings, that's one of the more difficult places to play in the National Football League. Week 9 bye for Philadelphia. They come out of it against the Green Bay Packers. That'll be a hard game. Detroit Lions have a ton of talent. You have an improved Bears team on Black Friday. You're on the road against the Chargers. You have to play the Commanders twice in 3 weeks. You have to go on the road, tough environment, cold environment against the Buffalo Bills. So, honestly, you choose what the hardest game is because there's a lot of them, but I'm ready for the challenge right there. And by the time that the playoffs come around, the Eagles could be absolutely battle-tested and mentally tough. Andrew Nathan always bringing the heat here on the show, one of our most loyal viewers. It was very interesting hearing A.J. Brown and Jordan Mailata talk about Kevin Patullo, the new offensive coordinator. Do you think that we'll go with a more balanced offense, or should we stick to the run and pass as a complement to the run? You have a couple of thoughts there. I think it's pretty notable that a lot of players on this Eagles team seem to be very excited about Kevin Patullo being elevated to offensive coordinator. He's been the right-hand man for Nick Sirianni since Sirianni came to Philadelphia in 2021. I thought it was very interesting how when I was at the Super Bowl and we asked Sirianni about Patullo, how he said how involved he is, that Sirianni runs all of his head coaching decisions and duties through Kevin Patullo first, and Patullo really helps him out with a lot of those decisions. And then he also said that Patullo plays a huge role in game planning. And keep in mind, Kevin Patullo has been a part of an Eagles offensive coaching staff that has been one of the top offenses in the NFL since Sirianni came here in 2021. And so what will the Eagles offense look like in 2025? There are so many factors there. Will it be more balanced? Brandon Graham said a couple of weeks ago he thinks it will be as compared to the Eagles running about 60% of the time last year. But I think every year is a little bit different, right? Last year, Saquon Barkley was so special. This Eagles offensive line was incredible. The Eagles found success on the ground. So it would be idiotic to go away from the run. This year, if teams really go all out and sell out and trying to stop the run, you're going to throw it a little bit more. If you find success throwing the ball, then yes, you want to target A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So it really does depend. I think it's always great to have a balanced offense to keep the opposing defense off kilter and off guard so that they don't know what's coming. As for Carol Hosey, here's her question. What is the latest update on Justin Simmons? I know there were rumors about him wanting to join us. Yeah, I mean, Justin Simmons has said himself that he would love to play under Vic Fangio and Christian Parker once again. He said that pretty much to Kay Adams. And then Brian Baldinger, we love Baldy here on the show, he said a couple of weeks ago that Justin Simmons wants to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. And Baldy even said, get him a house in South Jersey. He'll be there. And so I think Simmons makes a lot of sense for the Eagles. That is a very young safety room, an unproven safety room outside of Reed Blankenship. You have Sidney Brown, Andrew Makuba vying for a starting role alongside Reed Blankenship. You really don't know what those two players are as safeties at the NFL level. And Justin Simmons gives you a veteran presence who knows the system, who knows Vic Fangio and Christian Parker. He's not going to cost that much money, and he brings a lot of chops to your Eagles organization. He'd be a great locker room fit. We're talking about a guy who is a 4-time second-team All-Pro. Now, what I think happens here, Carol, Justin Simmons did not sign with the Atlanta Falcons until August 15th, even later of 2024. That's in the midst of training camp and when the preseason is getting underway. So he signed that deal with Atlanta. It was a 1-year, $7.5 million contract. I think the Eagles can get him for $4 million because he didn't play that well last year. And so he will wait probably once again to see what his best fit is. And I think what the Eagles want to find out, let's see what we have with Sidney Brown. Let's see what we have with Andrew Makuba. Let's see if a former first-round pick, Lewis Cine, can do something. Let's see if Tristan McCullum can make some strides. We've had Andre Sam the last couple of years as a former UDFA on the practice squad. Can he be a backup safety? If the Eagles don't feel confident in some of these young players, it feels like a guarantee that they're going to sign Justin Simmons. Joe Lord, how much faith do you have in KeShawn Ringo? I'm sort of on the fence. I think he's a great special teams player, but I'm concerned about him in coverage. Not sure if he can replace Slay. I think the Eagles really like him. They've said as much. When I was at the Super Bowl, Christian Parker was saying, I think that KeShawn Ringo can be a really good player. He's 6'1", over 200 pounds. He has 4.3 speed. He has length and physicality. So he can run really well. He can jam receivers. He's physical. He's not going to be overwhelmed by some of the more physical specimen wide receivers in the NFL. I do want to see, does he have ball skills? Can he track the ball? Does he have a good feel for the game? He is a guy who's still very young. He's younger going into year 3 than a lot of players who were drafted this past year across the NFL. For instance, Ty Robinson's 24. KeShawn Ringo is still younger than him. And so he's still a player who has some room to develop. I do think with the Eagles signing Adori Jackson, that was a little bit of an insurance policy, but you do have a couple of options here. Cooper DeJean can always move outside. Adori Jackson primarily plays on the outside. If DeJean moves to the outside, he has 4.4 speed. Mac McWilliams can play along the inside. You have B.J. Mays who can maybe play that role as well. Eli Ricks as a backup who's extremely long. But I think the Eagles let Slay go, and Slay only got $10 million from the Pittsburgh Steelers because they feel confident in KeShawn Ringo. The athleticism, it's all there. He just has to put it together, and we'll see if he can become more than just a special teams player. Andrew Nathan again. Chase, do you think the Eagles are looking around the league for a potential running back to grab when cuts happen? Honestly, I don't like our running back depth after Saquon. Your thoughts? I love Will Shipley. Will Shipley, I think, is a really solid player, and I think that he's a fine backup. I think A.J. Dillon, when healthy, is a good backup, but he's coming off a neck injury, and he didn't play last year. Neck injury for a physical running back who prides himself on bulldozing guys, yeah, that's a big concern. As far as RB4, who's it going to be? We're really not sure. Eagles picked up a couple of intriguing UDFAs. Shanderick Powell, Montrell Johnson. Could they earn that spot? Or, yeah, the Eagles could monitor that waiver wire they let go of a guy like Ty Davis Price, who I think could have been in the running for RB4. But I think the Eagles may have made that move because they like Powell, they like Johnson, they have Avery Williams too, who could be a gadget guy, and I don't think Lou Nichols is seriously going to challenge for that spot, but the Eagles let Ty Davis Price go over Lou Nichols. And then there's this last one coming in from Mystery Dragon. He said, would the Eagles be favored to win another Super Bowl again this year? Let's take a look at the Super Bowl odds. Let's take a look at what we got. Super Bowl odds as of a couple of days ago. The Eagles and Chiefs, both 6-1 to win Super Bowl 60. Now, oftentimes, the two teams that played in the Super Bowl the prior year, they're the odds-on favorites to win the Super Bowl. For instance, the Niners and the Chiefs last year, going into 2024, they were the odds-on favorites to win the Super Bowl. Eagles are plus 600 to win the bowl, 3-1 to win the conference. The Chiefs are plus 350. The division minus 145. The Chiefs, the division minus 130. The over-under for wins for both teams, 11.5. And so despite the Eagles having a very difficult schedule, the odds makers picking the over-under at 11.5. There are 4 teams who have an over-under for 11.5. Eagles, Chiefs, Ravens, Bills. So, yeah, to answer your question, Eagles still in the thick of the Super Bowl hunt to repeat as Super Bowl champions. Speaking of that, transition to this. What will the Eagles' record be in 2025? I need you to predict it for me down in the comment section. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button right here on Philadelphia Eagles Now.